Hello guys, welcome back. So today we are looking at the meninges of the brain. So introduction, the brain is a very important and delicate organ of our human body. It is protected by the following coverings. First one is the bony covering of cranium, and the second one is the three membranous coverings called meninges. The first one is outer, which is dura mater. In the middle one is arachnoid matter, and inner one is pia mater. The dura mater is also called as pachymeninges, and arachnoid and pia mater together called as leptomeninges. Then the space in relation to the meninges, the extradural or epidural space which is present outside the dura mater, the subdural space which is present between the arachnoid matter and dura mater, and subarachnoid space which is present between the pia mater and arachnoid matter. Then the cerebrospinal fluid filled between the arachnoid and pia mater, which acts like a cushion for the brain. Then the meninges, the first one is the dura mater, also called as pachymeninges. Then the dura mater is the outermost and the thickest and the toughest membranous covering of brain. Dura mater is basically divided into two parts, the outer one and inner one. The outer one is also called as endosteal layer, and inner one is also called as meningeal layer. In this diagram we can see the all coverings of the brain. The first one is skin, then peristonium, then the cranium bone which covers the covered by the bony part, then the dura mater, arachnoid matter, and pia mater. Then we will see the each layer of dura mater in detail. The first one is the endosteal layer, which serve as the internal peristonium for skull bone. It also provides the sheath for cranial nerves. We have cranial nerves in our brain which are provided sheath by the endosteal layer of dura mater. Then the meningeal layer places the meningeal layer for the dura mater folded on itself to form partition, which is divided into cranial cavity into the compartment and lodges different part of brain. So the meningeal layer of dura mater forms the fold of dura mater, which are very important topic according to your exam point of view. The first fold is the falx cerebri, second one is tentorium cerebelli, the third one is falx cerebelli, and fourth one is diaphragma celli. These are the four important folds of dura mater. Let us see the first falx cerebri. This is the layer sickle shaped fold of dura mater occupying the median longitudinal fissure between two cerebral hemisphere. As we know, the cerebrum is divided into the two parts by the cerebral hemisphere. They have two cerebral hemisphere which are divided by falx cerebri, which is this part of the brain, as we can see. Then it has two ends, two margins, and two surfaces. So the first one is the anterior end, second one is the posterior end. Then two margins which are like upper margin, lower margin, superior margin, inferior margin, and two surfaces. Then attachment is the anterior border, which is narrow and attached to the crista galli. Crista galli is a structure present on the anteriorly to the tentorium cerebri. Then the posterior end is broad and attached to the upper surface of tentorium cerebelli. The second one is our tentorium cerebelli, which is this part. This part is attached to the posterior end of cerebri. Then the superior margin is convex and attached to the lip of sagittal section, and inferior margin is concave and free. So this is superior margin which is convex and inferior margin which is concave. Then the venous sinuses enclosed are superior sagittal sinus, inferior sagittal sinus, and straight sinus. Now we will see the second fold, which is tentorium cerebelli. So the tentorium means tent-like structure. So it is a tent-shaped fold of dura mater forming the roof of posterior cranial fossa. It divides the cranial cavity into supratentorial and infratentorial compartments. So in the half of the sphere, we have this part called as tentorium cerebelli, which divide our skull into that supratentorial and infratentorial compartment. It has anterior free margin and outer attached margin. So it has anterior free margin, this one, and posterior attached margin. Then it has two surfaces, superior surface and inferior surface. The attachment is anteriorly, it is U-shaped end, or U is attached to the anteriorly to the anterior clinoid processes. Anterior margin bounds the tentorial notch occupied by the midbrain. Then the posterior surface, which is like the attached to the lip of the groove of containing transverse sinuses, superior petrostal sinuses, and posterior clinoid processes. And then there is a structure called trigeminal or Meckel's cave. It is a recess of dura mater present in relation with the attached margin of tentorium cerebelli. Contains trigeminal ganglion, so called as trigeminal or Meckel's cave. Then third one is the falx cerebelli. It is a small sickle-shaped fold of dura mater projecting forward into the posterior cerebellar notch. Now we will see the falx cerebelli. This structure, which is called as falx cerebelli, so it is present. Then like if this is the our falx cerebri, then this short sickle-shaped structure present in between the below the falx cerebri is called as falx cerebelli, and our tentorium cerebri is present like this. Now we will take forward. It has a base, apex, and two margins, anterior and posterior. As we look in this diagram, it has an base, as an apex, and two margins, anterior and posterior margin. Now we will go to the attachment. The base of skull is attached to the inferior surface of tentorium cerebri. As we seen before, this is our falx cerebri and this is our falx cerebelli. So yeah, so the base of sickle is attached to the inferior surface of tentorium cerebelli. Falx cerebelli. This is tentorium cerebelli where the base is attached. The apex reaches the foramen magnum. Then the anterior margin is concave and free. This is anterior margin, and posterior margin is convex and attached to the internal occipital crest. This is posterior margin. Venous sinuses enclosed are occipital sinuses along with the posterior margin. Then the last structure is diaphragma cili, or a fold of dura mater. So it is a small circular horizontal fold of dura mater forming the roof of hypophyseal fossa. So we have seen this fossa in pituitary gland. In pituitary gland, we have seen the pituitary gland is situated into hypophyseal fossa. The attachment is anteriorly, it is related to the tuberculum cili. Posteriorly, it is attached to the dorsum cili. On each side, it continues with the dura mater in the medial cranial fossa. Venous sinuses are anterior and posterior intercavernosus sinuses. Thank you.